Hey y'all, what's going on? Welcome to another Albion video. I'm Seneca. Um, Today I'll be showcasing one of my favorite ways to clear solo dungeons. Recently I've just been experimenting with a whole bunch of different gear as I try to spec up pretty much everything that I think I'll ever want to use. And right now, most recently I've been using the Great Nature Staff, which I did not think would be a viable clearance strategy at first, but as I will show you, it is definitely viable and actually pretty quick. So here's the basic setup. You're going to be using a Great Nature Staff. The spells you're going to want to use are Thorns to empower your auto attacks. Revitalize can be switched out with Cleanse Heal if you want. Really, the others aren't too useful. The W is on you. Whatever you want to use, go for it. You're not going to be using your W much at all, anyways. The E is going to be very important. Living Armor, you're going to use to counteract the effect of your R, Self Ignition, which deals true damage to you every half second. That damage really stacks up, but it can be completely mitigated with living armor, so you're going to want to use that for sure. After that, right now I'm trying to spec up my royal hood and my royal sandals. Um, as it happens, it actually synergizes pretty well with this gear set. So as you're like approaching the mobs, you just pop your D, and then you'll be stacking up damage. Then you got to pop your Q, which takes a fraction of a second, but still you're um, stacking damage. And then you just start auto attacking. If you're taking a lot of damage, you pop your E, living armor, and then normally you won't need self ignition if you've already stacked all this damage up. But on like a big set of mobs, that's when we'll be using that. So for food, we're going to be using Danglemouth Catfish. It's cheap. They're like 2.5k each or less, and they really help restore health between mobs. So this will enable us to just power through this dungeon. Other than that, poisons help power through the bosses a little bit faster. Thetford Cape I use because we don't have mana problems with this build, and it deals a little bit extra damage. So let's get started. I do like to use self-ignition on this guy here, just because he keeps spawning little guys, and they're really annoying to keep killing, so whatever. So we can just keep self-ignition on. Normally it would be dealing damage, but because of our food and our E both stacked up, it won't be dealing any damage to us, so we just keep walking until it is done, until the full effect is exhausted. I don't kill the little mobs, they're kind of a waste of time. So yeah, that's pretty much how this video is going to go. I'll just guide you through the dungeon, let you know, give you kind of a window into my mind, show you how I use the spells to navigate as efficiently as I possibly can. So there's self-ignition, we pop the E, now we're taking no damage from self-ignition, it's just what the mobs do, but we do so much damage so fast that the mobs don't do damage, so we just power through. Like, this is actually incredibly fast clearing. We won't see it in this dungeon, but the biggest threat is actually, I forget the name of the dungeon set, but whatever dungeon has the bats that explode, that's the biggest danger, because when you're running self-ignition, if the bat spawns next to you, it's going to instantly die. So you have a very small window of time to react and avoid taking that damage, and it is significant damage. On these mobs, you always want to kill the Earthchild first because he empowers the other guy. And then when he's empowered, yeah, like that, he does a lot of damage. I probably would have been full wiped if it wasn't for my E. So this is why I have W. If I do happen to take significant damage, I just quickly heal it. Back in action. This would be a good set of mobs to have self-ignition going because these guys have quite a bit of health. It would help melt it down, but alright, I'm gonna go ahead and pop it. Really, it's all about the self-ignition. I mean, we're doing some damage with our thorns, and it becomes fairly significant if we do stack up all of our damage. But really, most of it comes from self-ignition. So another option is to wear a assassin hood to force all of your cooldowns, so you can just keep popping self-ignition over and over. But I'm not trying to spec it up right now, so. Oh, it's pretty hard to die with this build, really. I mean, you got a lot of healing, a lot of defenses. I haven't been dived yet, so I don't really know exactly how well it works against gankers. Maybe someone will pay us a visit here pretty soon. We can figure it out. There's self-ignition, followed by the E to counter it. Now the only damage we're taking is from the boss. So I only half stacked that, and we're doing 160 damage per auto. That's actually ridiculous. Garbage loot per usual. I always try to make sure I've already popped self-ignition if able, and then start channeling my Q and all that stuff. Just because, I mean, it's less than a second, but you're saving yourself about a second each time if you do it that way. If you're already dealing damage with self-ignition when you channel it, just makes it a little bit faster if you're really that concerned with the efficiency. So at this point, I already know there's going to be a blue chest because this is like the standard approach to this blue chest. Always has the exact same mobs. insanely fast clear when it's all stacked up like that. Blue chest, fat man. So there's self-ignition with the E. Let's get the boots going. Poison. I'll just take this damage because it really doesn't matter. Just melts the boss. That's how it's done. Not bad. Yep, it's one of my favorite builds for solo dungeons. And if you like the video, got some benefit from it, let me know. Throw it a like, and I'll catch you later.